All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight or on the replay. If you're on the replay, let me know. And also, I'll probably throw this on over to YouTube. So go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I'll try not to move too much with this weird blurry background, but I'm in my husband's office. And so it's all Star Wars and Commodore and really geeky stuff. And at one point, it looks like Vader's sitting on my head. So see, oh, there he is. Anyways, so we'll try this blurry thing for today. You don't have to look at me anyways. You guys can just listen. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here talking about Field, which is one of the ULA Fs. And I recently became a certified coach with the ULA program and help people through the ULA framework. So there's 7 Fs of ULA: family, fun, fitness, faith, field, finances. That's 6. I'm missing one. I've almost got them down and then I forget them, family, friends. So those are the 7 Fs of ULA. And I'm going to be doing some workshops like this where I go over just one so you can get a feel of if you wanted to jump in and do a 3-week or 10-week coaching program with me. You could see what it's like to go through the framework. And so this is a small part of what we do during those weekly processes. So yeah, so I became a life coach about 6 months ago. I had been searching to do something outside of my field. So I run my family's vacation rental business, which I love, but it's in the service industry. And if you're in the service industry, you know sometimes it can be crazy and you need an outlet. And so I love helping people, especially I tend to work with women. So I love helping women find their goals and dreams and succeed and follow them and do it with confidence and fun and grace and all of that. So I became a life coach with ULA. And so that's kind of with my field. Sometimes it wasn't about the money. I didn't need the extra income. It was just, I needed something that did something in my core with my values and my hopes and dreams that made me feel really good inside that I wasn't per se getting from my 9-to-5 job. And so we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. And so I walk you through the framework. We'll go through one of the steps today so you can get a feel for it. And at the end, if you are wanting to, maybe you enjoyed this and you want to dive in deeper, feel free to reach out to me. I do free calls just to walk through what it looks like to be in my coaching program. I also have information on other courses that are not coaching, but maybe group courses. I have some goal setting ones that are coming up at the end of the year to get ready for next year. So I always have some things where you can kind of meet with me and work whatever financial level you're at, as sometimes, when coaching is expensive because I devote a lot of time to you and the program you get is, bar none. So I also am ambassador for ULA and their other program, which is through an app. So that's a little bit more affordable. So if any of this resonates with you, there's many options of how we can work together on your price range and in your timeline. So tonight we're going to talk about Field. Oh, there's Vader again. Oh my goodness. It's going to go viral or something because Vader's staring at me. Field, which is your work, your job. So I want you to think, if the job you have currently, would you want it in 2023? And how I look at this as a little bit of an exercise is, and do this when you're in a good mood about your job. If you wait until you are burnt out and frustrated, you're probably going to skew things more than you would if you were either just neutral or happy. So when you find yourself in a good spot with your job, or just kind of neutral, like, write down what's working with your job and what's not. I often hear in this world, like, oh, do a side hustle, and then, you can leave your job and do your side hustle. Well, side hustles take work, and sometimes they can't cover the income you're getting and benefits from a 9-to-5 job. So we want to look at where we need to fix. It may be a full jump to a side hustle. It may be, going to get you want to get a raise, or maybe work in a different department. So there's lots of things, if we start to think about it, that we can do with the job we have without having to leave and do something else. So I don't really think if you hate your job and you're here tonight, it's not going to be about go find your dream job and blah, blah, blah. No, we're going to help you no matter where you're at. So first things first is write that what's working, what's not working list. And so I'll do that a little bit with what I did. So like I said, I run the family business. It gives me a lot of freedom. It's high burnout sometimes because it's customer service. So that was a negative, but flexibility is kind of a positive. I get to work in a beautiful area. I drive to work, which to me is a positive for 30 minutes because I can listen to podcasts, books on tape. So to me, the drive wasn't an issue. I am away from my children, which I have young children, and it's not ideal. So once I started looking at those, you can start to see, can this job I have now edit those? So let's say, since I do talk to a lot of women, moms, you work out of home and you say you're missing your kids too much. You're spending way too much time away from your children, and that's not the whole point. And you can't, so there's two things you can do. One, start to take the steps to say, if you live in a 2-income household, and say, hey, what if I didn't work? Or what if I worked part-time? What would our finances look? What would our childcare look like? Start thinking about it. And you're just thinking, talking with the spouse, partners, seeing, hey, would this work if I did this? Because sometimes you might find out your spouse is really on board for it, or it doesn't take as much money as you think to maybe work part-time. So start writing down what worked and what didn't work, and then developing that into, okay, how could I take my current job and make it better? Because we always want to jump. Again, American way is, it's always greener on the other side. Just abandon what you have, but don't do that. So let's talk about that. So you have your lists of what's working and what's not working. That is awesome. That's a great start. And then, like I say, you just start tweaking things. So, okay, I wouldn't have to pay for childcare. That's $2,000 a month. Okay, great. I make $5,000. So now you're just having $3,000 to find. So you can start to whittle down what is and isn't working. So with that list, start curating and investigating those little things, like what steps, maybe I want a promotion, because if I can get a promotion and get to that next level, then the job is worth it to me to stay where I'm at because it's going to be more money or more flexibility. So what steps do you need to take to get a promotion? Maybe you want to start a side hustle. So how can you get more time at home or away from work to be able to start doing your side hustle? Maybe you want to take your side hustle full time. Okay, again, back to like the working from home. What steps do I need to take to make that happen? So you take all these negatives and positives and work them out, because you don't know until you know what will and won't work. I get a lot of people that just are, and I think it's because they're exasperated, they're exhausted, they're burnt out. And so when you come to them like, hey, leave your job today, let's do this, what are you gonna do? And they're like, oh, I can't do it. You have to take it down a notch and really look at what's working, what's not working, because sometimes, half the time, it's maybe a different position. Maybe you don't like the person you work with, and if you could move to this side of the business, then you wouldn't have to see them. Maybe it's you want to work from home. A lot of companies are doing that now. You might go, maybe you want to work in the office. Maybe you want to do some sort of blend. So it's not just black and white with hate the job, leave the job. There is a gray area in between that I think not enough people look at, so you can find the ways to enjoy your job, because not all of us can leave our job. I get that. You have bills to pay, families to support. Maybe you're just the job for health insurance. I get that. That's expensive. But don't just sit there and be stuck in it. Make positive choices to help continue on with that job. And also, when you're in a job you don't like, it shows to people, and maybe you haven't been given that promotion because people go, well, she hates it here. She's not engaging with staff. She's not engaging with clients. Your attitude says a lot. So, if you want something that's that little bit that manifesting out there, like I'm going to put out a good attitude and it'll happen. Okay, not always. I get that. It's not one of those things that's always going to happen, but there is some truth to that. So always, I believe you should show up and love your job and work it like it's the best thing ever. And sometimes you're doing that fake, of course, sometimes it's for real, but you will find out your days go quicker, smoother, And a lot more opportunities come to you when you're allowing positivity and joy to radiate from you versus being the Karen or the negative Nelly, or, be someone that people want to be around. So once you have that list and you're breaking it down, it starts to get you excited about thinking. A lot of things too is you just need that goal. Like the stress of, oh, I'm going to quit my job. Oh my gosh, all the bills, blah, blah. It snowballs into this, like too much stress. But if you just took the steps and go, okay, here's the 8 steps I need to do to be able to leave my job. And you can focus on one step at a time. Some may go quickly, some may take forever. You may have a setback, your car breaks down, medical bills. All of a sudden, when you just needed to think about, hey, I only need to save up this much, something happened, it's going to set you back. So don't let setbacks and distractions derail you from the process. Just know that it's all part of the process of changing jobs or looking for a promotion. Again, you can ask. The worst things that can happen is you're going to get a no. And I think in today's world, I'm a boss, so in today's world, I see a lot of people, I know a lot of places are struggling to find people. So the employees have a lot of give right now and a lot of take as far as being able to come into my office and go, hey, I need this. It's like, I can't afford to lose anybody, that kind of stresses the boss. But I always tell my staff, just ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to be told no. But if you don't ask, you don't know. What if you could have gotten a promotion 2 years ago if you just would have asked? So put yourself out there, people. And I know that's hard. And so, like I said, if you're going through the steps and you're thinking, yes, Stacy, I want to do this, connect with me at the end, because I do think sometimes we need that extra push or that coach that's going to help us all the way, especially when life has been hard to us and we have so much going on. Having that coach and that clarity truly helps. So once you kind of got that, I also am going to have you guys take a little test. This is part of the ULA wheel. So the ULA wheel is, you have your hub in the center, which for me, it's Christ. Your hub needs to be, the hub needs to be something that's bigger than you are. So for me, it's God. That's my hub. So everything revolves around my hub. And then there's little spokes, and then there's the wheel. And so the wheel has those 7 areas we talked about. And so if you're good in all 7 areas, your wheel is going to just go fine. It's going to do it. But if you're low in one or maybe low in a bunch, your wheel is going to be clunkety, clunkety, clunkety. And so we work together to have you grow in each area. If you're a workaholic, that's great. Your field might be 10 out of 10, but your family life is a 3 out of 10. We want you to get even in all areas and have balance, because that just has a better flow in life. Everybody's happier when everything is balanced. So I'm going to take you through the field today. And what we do is there's 10 questions I'm going to ask you, and you're going to rank them from 1 to 10, as 1 being low, doesn't happen at all, to 10 being obviously the best. So go ahead and get a piece of paper down, or get a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to have you answer all these questions with a 1 through a 10. So you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down for each one. There are 10 questions, and then we're going to divide it by 10 to get our ULA score for field. All right. Number 1, I would rate my current job satisfaction. So thinking of your job satisfaction right now, 1 being I could care less if the job ended tomorrow, and 10, I go every day with joy and fun to my job. So I would rate my current overall job satisfaction 1 to 10. Number 2, my job financially meets my needs. Again, 1 to 10. So if you're probably going to work 2 or 3 other jobs, that particular job you're focusing on for this question probably does not meet it. If you're having to get another, even just another job, your main job probably is not cutting it. So is my job financially meeting my needs? And again, tailor that to needs to wants, because most of our jobs probably aren't meeting our wants, but they're probably meeting our needs. Number 3, I love my job. I love my job, 1 to 10. Number 4, I feel as if I'm doing what I was created to do. I feel as if I'm doing what I was created to do. You probably know this is correct if you love going to job, like every morning you wake up and you love what you do. For a lot of people, it's their side hustle. Like for me, I wasn't necessarily happy with my job, but it paid the bills. It did a lot of things. So could a side hustle help me feel more aligned and have some inner love and what I was created to do, that may not be able to pay the bills right away? Number 5, I have solid goals for my field. Sometimes if you don't have goals or hopes or aspirations in a job, it isn't exciting and there is no hope. It's like, well, I'm just gonna stay at this level for the rest of my life. So do you have goals, solid goals for the field you are in? You know, if you're at the top of your game right now and there's nowhere to go, then that could be part of why you're not enjoying your job, because you know, hey, I'm at the end. There is nowhere for me to go. What do I do next? So that question is, I have solid goals for my field. Next is, my current job doesn't interfere with my family and personal time. So my current job does not interfere with my family and personal time. So those are for those workaholics. If you're working 80 hours a week, it's probably affecting your personal life. All right, number 7, my current job makes the world a better place. This is a hard one because sometimes you may feel like, well, I pump gas. How is that making people's world a better place? I'm polluting the, you start getting, but you're getting people to their job or their vacation. So think a little bit about that one, but is it making the world a better place? That one you may have to stretch on if you have certain jobs that may not make a difference in the world. My job utilizes my natural gifts and abilities. My job utilizes my natural gifts and abilities. So I love speaking. And at the time, before I started becoming an ULA life coach, my job really didn't have a lot of speaking engagements. And there's actually been a few that have popped up recently. So I think part of it's putting my mind out there that I want to speak. And then all of a sudden it seemed like a few opportunities popped up for me to be able to speak. So with this one, my job utilizes my natural gifts and abilities. My current job can support my long-term financial goals. So your job may pay the bills, but does it support your long-term financial goals? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to move? Do you want to retire early? Does this current job support those long-term financial goals? And the last question is, my job offers the opportunity to grow personally, professionally, and financially. My job offers the opportunity to grow personally, professionally, and financially. All right, 1 to 10 there. So what you're going to go ahead and do is add all those up, and you're going to divide it by 10. So you should get a number, 5, 6.7, 7, some, 10, maybe a 3, 1, whatever it is. That's your field score. And so usually there's always room for improvement. I don't think anybody would get a 10 out of 10 unless, I can't think of, I guess if you're living the dream job, it's paying all your bills, plus then there may be a 10 out there. But most people resonate about that 5 to 7 on average, depending on where they're at. And then some of you are 1. If you are a 1, it is okay, because you can only go up from here. So now that you've done that, and again, if you were doing the framework with me, you would do it for all 7 Fs. And so you'd see where you align. So if field is a strong one for you, you may not need to do a lot of work here, and you could work with me to go on to the others. So now that we have that and you have that score, let's come up with some goals that you would like to do to create, kind of earlier I had you list the pros and cons of, what's not working with your job, what's positive. And then what do you want to do? Do you want to change jobs? Do you want to add a side hustle? Do you want to work less? Start to take those pieces and we'll break it down. So so here's some of the things you'll need to do. Do you need to make your job better? Do you need to ask for promotion? Do you need to change who you're working with? Do you need to change locations? Do you need to cut hours? All those things, you need to start writing a SMART goal that says, I want to only work 30 hours a week starting September 1st. And by setting that straight line in the sand goal, it's not like, I want to work 30 hours. Okay, when? Whenever it happens. Well, if you don't set a goal, it's not going to happen. So if you want to work 30 hours a week starting September 1st, you have some work to do. One, Is it even an option? Go up to your boss and say, hey, I was wondering if you would mind if I started working 30 hours instead of 40, or 25 instead of 30 instead of 25. So whatever it is, go find out if it's even possible. Sometimes you'll have to ask somebody, maybe email somebody. Sometimes HR may have those things listed, but you have to find out, is it possible? Okay, so number one, is it possible? If it's not, your goal is kind of ended there in some sense, but how else can you do it? Can you, maybe that's like, okay, is there any other position in this job where I can work 30 hours? Or start looking for another job where maybe 30 hours is okay. So again, don't just take that closed door. Think of an alternative way to get to what you want. And then if there's not a way, you've looked at everything, there's no other job in your area, your boss won't let you work 30 hours, everybody's shorthanded, blah, 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 then start with the next step is, okay, I do want to do this, so I need to find another job, which means in this job, I can't do it. Or maybe it's a season, like in summer, we're seasonally busy. If you came and asked me and said, can you work 30 hours? I'd be like, no. Come fall, heck yes, I'll save on payroll. You never know, your boss might love this. He's going to save on payroll. It's not as busy. And so there's opportunities there. It may be a seasonal thing. Again, yeah, if you're in a seasonal thing, don't go up on the first day of summer and go, oh, I just want to work 30 hours. Yeah, it's not going to work most likely. So, be mindful of that. But if it is like you just can't find it, then now you got to go back to that goal and go, okay, it's not going to happen by September 1st because it's 2 weeks away. Let's say I'm not going to find a job. So maybe extend to October 1st, or change what the goal is a little bit and say, hey, by September 1st, I will have I would have my resume done and applied to 10 jobs. Set little baby goals sometimes to get you to that bigger goal, especially if that goal is not going to happen right away. And then you need to stretch that goal a little bit and say, okay, I'm not going to probably have a new job until 2023, but I'm going to get my resume out there. I'm going to be applying to jobs left and right so that by 2023, I am working only 30 hours a week. So take those little lists, do the flow. And again, I am here for you. If you need some help one-on-one, if you feel like everything else in life is going well and you just want some help on field, I charge $25 an hour. So we can do a one-on-one together and just work on that. So there's always something you can work on. Let me just look over my notes here real quick. So that is really the framework I wanted to discuss tonight, is answering those questions. Where are you at in your field? So that 10 being the best, 1 being the lowest. If you're in the low numbers, you really need to work and get that higher, because you're going to find out you're going to be happier, less stressful, relationships are better. Work stress is very hard. If your spouse or you are not liking your job, you're bringing that home with you, which makes home life hard. So for sure, talk to one another, work it out, but try to get that field up, especially if you're 5 and under. You really want to focus on getting that. I think 7 is a sweet spot. And then you always want room to grow. You don't want to be at 10 because then there's nothing to do but come down. So I feel like 7 or 8 is that sweet spot, because every year you're going to grow. So with all that, taking those steps in, seeing where you are, and then those pros and cons lists and saying, okay, I'm going to work on these things, or here's my goal to be able to start a side hustle. I just want everyone to know when they leave here tonight that, sometimes you can't just quit your job and go do your side hustle. I get that, it's hard, but if you have those goals set up and make them, like if you want to start a side hustle, but you were like, that is scary, that is like, oh my gosh, all of the things, breathe, baby steps. Do you know what side hustle you want? Maybe all you're going to do for the month of August is, I'm just going to learn about all the side hustles out there. I never thought about a side hustle. Which one would I want? Is there ones I can do from home? Is there, there are so many weird random jobs out there. Start looking. You could probably find something that would totally work for you. I don't know, if you want to do puzzles all day, go work at old folks' home. There's all these things that you could find that are out there that you just don't know until you look. So setting baby goals. If it's too much for you, start with the baby goals. Like I said, I'm going to build a resume. I haven't made a resume in like 20 years. That would be a daunting task to have to go make a resume and remember what I did 30 years ago for work, or do they even count that anymore? Do they just want the last 3 years? I've been a stay-at-home mom, let's say. I have no work history. All those things can be very stressful when you go to just do that one step of making a resume. So break it down into baby steps if you need to. Also look for support from your friends and family if they're supportive. If you have people that think you should work 9 to 5 for the rest of your life until you die, that's what you do. They're probably not going to be supportive of you saying, I want to go raise bunnies on a bunny farm, So find people that are supportive and love you and know you too, because you may need someone to say, okay, great. You want to go run a bunny farm. You live in downtown New York. You have quite a few steps to take to get to that level. So let's back off that and set some more realistic steps to getting to that level. Someone that knows you. If you have been, this is so me, I have started so many things. For the people that have started so many things, I give you permission to let it go. The whole point of the entrepreneurial spirit and being out there is to fail. You have to try. If you don't try, you'll never fail and you'll never succeed. You will stay in the mundane. So if you're like me and you've maybe failed at a few things, you failed, but you learned from that, didn't you? You learned, oh, I don't like to do that, or I needed more time, effort, support, financial, mental, all of that. So don't let past mistakes dictate what your future is doing. You need to look at them and maybe go, okay, I probably should not just jump in this time and quit my job like I've done the last 5 times, because then I have to ask family for money because I don't have any, because I'm trying to build my side hustle, but I just went all for it and quit my job. So having those steps along the way can help, and people along the way will help kind of keep you in line. But again, you have to make sure they're people that have your best interest in heart, that will tell you when you may need to stop and be in the real world, but also encourage you enough to take those leaps of faith and do something you love. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully the Vader and the weird background didn't disturb you too much. Hopefully this made sense. And if you want to learn more about this or the other 7 F's of ULA and take your life back, message me below and say, I want to take my life back, and I would love to work with you. I have many ranges from an app to a 3-week program, a 10-week program. I have a financial course. If you think life's going well, but you need help with finances, I have that. I have a health, if you're looking to get in better shape, lose weight, I have a health course I can walk you through. So I've got lots of stuff to help you in any of those 7 F's, and I would love to do it. So go out there, have a good attitude, make those lists, fill out the wheel, and find out where you need to go from here. All right, take care, everybody.